Okay.
Okay. So Diana. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. And then someone is saying, definitely connecting to my purpose. I know that anything Emily does is powerful, so our friends are powerful too. Yes, that is, we're a good duo.
I
Um,
admire whoever said that, and yet I can't see who it is because it just says iPad Pro. So whoever you are,
an
mystery.
anonymous gift of love. Yes, yes. So for those of you who are watching the replay, we have just hit record. We are here to talk about connecting to our purpose and our power and moving meaningfully in the world. And I think Emily and I both especially felt this. I mean, I think are both people who are really driven by a deep sense of purpose. And I think in the, wake of the US election in particular, we both felt a really strong sense that now's the time, right? That we have gifts burning inside of us that are asking to be used and asking to be used even more deeply and even more meaningfully. And so what does that mean and how do we do it? And that is what the space that we want to hold today. And Emily, I'm going to ask you a question to kick us off.
I'm
Um,
wondering,
the
actually, can we introduce ourselves first? Because I'm
oh,
not sure everybody knows all, like each of us.
yes, I'm so excited to get into the content. I forgot about that part. Yes. Will you introduce yourself first, my love?
Sure. I walked right into that, everybody. I really did. Okay. So, hi, everyone. To those I know, hi, I'm so happy you're here. To those I'm just meeting for the first time, it's so amazing to meet you. Hello, hello, hello. So, I am a singer, a speaker, and an elite level energy worker. I can't find a better title than that. I specialize in karmic work and releasing the roots of where. Oh, again, if we can just remind everybody to mute your, that, awesome, thank you. So I specialize in karmic work, which is basically getting to the root of where our repeat patterns lie. It is soul level work, it is soul level ascension, and as well activation work and activating through the voice. So in short, quantum leaping your world from the soul level, inside out, and really no holding back from that. Like people have crazy big changes when they work with me, and it's been an absolute blessing to run this and do this for years, both on the screen and on stages. So that's me, Kyley.
Yes. Yeah. Emily's magic will fuck you up in the best possible way. That's the that's the unofficial summary. And I was excited to do this with you because you're a deep healer and also because I consider you someone who does not shy away from the ask, right? Spirit sometimes asks us to step towards our dreams, towards our desires in big and bold ways. And sometimes that is scary. Sometimes that is uncomfortable. Sometimes that means we have to say goodbye to ways of being and patterns and places. It's pretty bold work. And I always love and admire the way in which it's work you don't shy away from, both the internal and the external version of it. Um, I am Kyley, and I like to say that my work is to hold the bridge between the spirit and the material. And so for some of my clients and a lot of my work is about looking at what a spirit-led, heart-led business actually needs of you and how you can show up with meaningful action, with compelling copy that's actually comes from your heart and actually has that fire and purpose in it instead of following some script of like what some marketing bro said was going to work, which it won't work for you if you're a heart-led entrepreneur. It won't. You'll burn out or you'll get bummer results. And also the balance of that is that a lot of that spirit material balance is about our deep interior experiences and tending to, with tremendous love, the places that we're afraid to go. Again and again and again, I find for myself, for my clients in the world, that our power, our magic lives in the parts of ourselves that we have been taught to reject. And so I like to think of the inner work that I take people on as like a rescue mission of sorts for the parts of yourself that you've forgotten and have been left in what we call the darkness, but is actually just your own, the undiscovered corners of your own heart. And they belong to you. And the more we make ourselves at home in all of these spaces, the more joy we have, the more ease we have, and the bigger our impact gets to be from that place of joy and ease. So that's a little bit about me. Um,
And she's magical.
I'm not too shabby. Um, and I want to offer to anybody who's here who has a feeling of like, I don't know how to answer this question, right? These two women just got on and they gave their purpose. Like, I don't know what the hell mine is. And that's why I'm here, ... fill in the blank. And that's why I'm wrong. And that's why I'm not doing enough, right? We all know the stories. Some of you might be here and you know exactly how to answer that question. And I love that. And if you are here and there's some questions about that, about how to answer that, I just want to make that okay, right? And that is not a hindrance from doing the work. It is often actually just an invitation into like more powerfully being able to claim what it is you want to be doing and how you want to be moving, because these are big questions. And also how I answer that might change 6 months from now because it will have deepened and clarified. And so I just want to, I'm always interested in giving us permission to not beat ourselves up.
I think
Okay.
with that, it's really important to get curious. Shall we start with some questions?
Yes, we have a little agenda of some questions that we thought would be an amazing way to dive into this topic. And as we go, if you have questions, please put them in the chat because we want to hear from you as well. We will elaborate. We're weaving a space together. Emily, what the fuck is purpose?
Oh man. All right. So I'm gonna ask for this to be as channeled as possible. Let's see what comes through. Your soul's knowing and understanding from many times before. Ooh, my whole body just went all the things. Your soul's knowing and understanding from many times before of why you came and what you came here for. Whoa.
Yeah, well, I
So
love that.
that's what channeled through. If I'm to dissect that, yeah, same. If I'm to dissect that, I mean, when I was younger, and probably many of us thought, okay, my purpose is just tied to what am I good at? What am I skilled at? Where my talents are? And I think it's so much, oh, okay, we've started it. Okay, amazing. For me, when someone says they're crying, I'm like, that's great news. That means it's touched your soul and touched your heart, and that's really what we're here for. We're not doing surface level. Surface level doesn't get us the soul-led deep results. Like this is the full thing. So yeah, you might feel some stuff as we both channel and all the things. So I thought it was just about what am I talented at? What are you talented at? What am I good at? And then the further I go, I realize it's so much bigger than that. It's so much more bountiful than that. There's more flowers available for each of us. And now I'm seeing flowers, more chills. We are very not alone in this. No shock. No shock. Okay, probably everybody here believes in spirit guides, I would think, if they know you or me. And if not, that's, well, just kind of how I chat and shoot the shit because we're saying swearing is okay here. So here we are.
Oh
So
yeah, I can't help it. So my all-time favorite podcast review is I have one-star review because the person was like, why do they have to swear so much on this spirituality podcast? I share it
we've got
everywhere.
feelings. That is bananas, I just have to say. But really, I think purpose is, why was I born? Why am I here? What's important? How do I want to leave? I ran a whole program on this once. What's the world I want to leave behind? What's my part in it? And I think, there's so many layers to this, and of course we'll talk about this with all the questions. But it's really, it's like your place in the world, right? Like it's know that every single one of you, your purpose creates massive ripples in the world. It affects so many, whether or not you know it or see it. And that is why it is so unbelievably critical at this time, and all the time coming. I just heard the next 30 years, juicy, that we all come home to ourselves and really, again, get curious about that. But it's one thing to know your purpose. It's a whole other thing to really freaking do it. And I think we got to talk about that on this live too. That's a whole other chapter with all the different like hoops of fire that we may walk. And certainly that I have had to walk, including some even in the last week. So, I don't want to ever give the illusion that walking your life of purpose is always simple or easy. It'd probably be a lot easier to just go, all right, I could just do what someone tells me. But we all know it's bigger than that because we're here. So to me, that's what purpose is. Kyley, anything you want to add to that?
Okay, well, I freaking love everything that you said. I really love separating this what am I good at from purpose, because our sense of what I'm good at is so tied to approval, external validation, right? Kind of for a lot of us, the good girl narrative, which is often our relationship to goodness is often so tied in pleasing, in contorting, in shrinking. And so there's something really big, I feel, for us in inviting purpose to be disconnected from good and what we're good at, even as you are undeniably well equipped for the thing that is your purpose. So I love that permission. Um, and and I think there's two ways I want to answer this question to build off of what you said. For me, the reminder that purpose is our being above and beyond any of our doing, right? And we do more good for the world, if we're going to use the word, if we're going to use that word for a moment, we do more good for the world by being madly fucking in love with ourselves than anything else, right? By radiating an energy of love and compassion and warmth, which has to start internally, right? We can only love others as deeply as we are committed to loving ourselves. By being a frequency of love and doing no external productive thing is so much more impactful than anything else. It has to start there. And I think that's really important because someone put productivity in the comments, right? Our kind of cultural obsession with achievement and productivity and what am I good at can really separate us from the being, right? We think, well, if I do enough things, then I will be, right? If I do enough things, I will get to the place where I will be enough, where I will be good, where I will be in purpose. And it is the opposite way around. You know, Emily said, surface level doesn't give you soul level results. Soul level results, soul level is about embodiment. It's about becoming. It's about doing the deep healing, going to the scary corners, which I am confident that everyone here has spent time doing, right? I think otherwise you wouldn't be someone who's interested in the spaces Emily and I hold. But first and foremost, your purpose is your being, right? And so I think a question we can all ask ourselves, and I would invite you to ask yourself right now, and feel free to put it in the comments. Who do you want to be, right? What beingness calls you? When you wake up in the morning, how do you want to be? Who do you want to be as a frequency, as an energy, as a being in the world? That's why I have my little bee tattoo, remind me. And that is the place from which all the doing has to happen. And if we try to do in a way that is separate, that is inauthentic or misaligned with our being, we will get pulled on back, right? That elastic band snaps back and it can feel like rejection. It can feel painful. It is spirit reminding you, no, you have to be this first, right? If you want to teach it, you got to be it. If you want to lead it, you got to be it. If you want to change the world with a frequency of divine Christ consciousness love, if that's your language, I'm just maybe channeling from one particular person here, you will be invited to return to a deeper and deeper level of being that, right? And what's beautiful about that, it does let you off the hook from the productivity cycle. But it then brings us to the question that Emily raised, which is, okay, how do I then know my purpose? So I think to know your purpose is on some level to know who you want to be and who you are, who your soul desires to be in the world as a frequency. And then there is this like action, purpose, movement piece. Emily, I want to throw another question back to you, unless you have something immediately you want to say to that. I have a
Oh, I
question.
think that was perfect. Hit me.
Okay. All right. So as someone who has been deeply in devotion to the being process, right, to the deep inner work, how has your sense of external purpose shifted and evolved and clarified?
Tea, it's so cold. You had iced tea.
Wait, what?
So,
Okay.
so it was off mute just to I love it. That feels like the spirit little like chuckles, you know.
Sorry, can you repeat the
Actually, and actually, I'm gonna drop something in that comes in off of that, which is also the reminder in all of this conversation about purpose and being and embodiment is the reminder not to take it so seriously, right? It's like, this is our soul's purpose. This is our like divine embodiment. This is your sacred work in the world. And also you will have more fun if you don't take it so seriously. So with that, do the deep inner work, go do the shadow work, and also don't take it so seriously because everything's paradox at the same time. Now, my love, answer if you don't mind answering my question.
Okay, so I think you basically said, how has the work shifted your purpose? Yes. So for those who don't know, again, I clear karma as you know, I've done so much of that with clients, with myself, etc. And so just to give an idea of the level of how much inner work I do and commit to, I mean, all the time since 2017 is when my big wake up call happened, and it's a whole story how I got there, and that's not for this live, but it's a great story, but not for this live. Another time, another life, but you know, nonstop. I've cleared probably maybe 1,000 karmic patterns within myself, and also done many modalities with people and others and myself for years. So I've been working on this on the deepest soul level and committing to it, as in how I show up, who I show up as you said, the being, for years. How it shifted my purpose, like crazy. If you had asked me years ago, I would have said, quote, I am a singer. I am an opera singer. I knew something about the voice was important, didn't know how much. And then it shifted and it shifted and shifted and shifted. And moon rising became another big piece of opening my purpose and realizing healing and realizing what I could do for others. And then, you know, if you go into the present day, and this is something that even people very close to me, you may not know this. And for those who just, I mean, everyone, this might be like a new announcement. Like where I'm going next is like the Lady Gaga of healing. And I'm fucking over the moon about that because it makes sense. On top of that, maintaining my business. But that's all to say, I realized through this work, I realized it was not about bringing, well, firstly, I realized it wasn't just about, and this is, again, being very brutally honest with myself and all of you, it was never about the ego. It was never about, am I good enough? It was never about proving something to myself about my own self-worth. Please look out for this, because this can be really sneaky with our purpose. But it would have been many years ago. Like, why did I really want to sing all those things? It probably was. It was in more ego-led desire. And even still just recently to make that gap, that change into where I'm going, into bringing all of this into the mainstream, because that's my goal, is that it's about light to millions of people. And so how did the work affect it? There's no way I would have believed that what I'm trying to do now is possible. That's one. My confidence couldn't have stood in that room. I would have like shit myself. Like, no way. Okay? No way. And I wouldn't have believed, most of all, that I was capable of doing something that important. And I think that's also something I hear a lot of people tell me, like, about themselves. Like, can I believe that it can be that important? And the answer is, it is. Your purpose is that important. And so the inner work really revealed to me, I mean, it's so funny, like spirit will, you know, they will put your blinders on. They will allow you to see only what you're able to see at that time for you to like not fuck it up. Because sometimes if you know too much too early or before you're ready because you've done enough of the inner work to be ready, oh my God, they have to go in steps. And so you could be going around the most talented in whatever it is that you do. I'm very curious, you know, again, if more people want to share what they do or who they are, however it wants to come out today. All to say, it may develop, we hope it does develop into an even more profound purpose for you. And it will as a result of doing this work. So it was about what I thought I was capable of changed, confidence changed, my commitment to myself and to my truth changed, because again, we all would say, quote, I live in my truth. I'm not lying to myself. I don't think anyone ever intentionally is like, I lie to myself. But actually, the amount of truth that I'm in now versus before is totally different. So it's not about lying, it's about being more deeply into your highest truth and not just, I don't know why this is coming up, but probably because we'll talk about the voice because it's me. Like that you're not living your purpose from what other people say you should do or what other people see, but from what your heart actually innately knows, which has the puzzle pieces there for you all along. I'm trying to think if there's any others because really I could talk about this one for 5 hours. I think the biggest is about it changed what I knew I was capable of, and if like for I think one of you saw me through one of these transitions. I'm gonna just say one of you, and you know who you are. There was the many moments of discovery along the path, and some of them were so shocking that I would be actually doing work for clients, discovering it as I went, and burst out in tears, like in just shock with everybody. So all to say, your purpose is perfect. Your purpose is divine. Your purpose will be fulfilled. And you got to let yourself go there. So, yeah. All right. Over to you, Kyley. How would you answer that?
Okay, first of all, I just love everything you said, obviously. I'm Alicia said she's writing in all sorts of life quotes. I also am taking notes for us. At the very end, you said, do the process of doing the inner work change what you knew you were capable of? And I think that is probably in some ways the biggest answer to this question for me as well. I was at a conference last Sunday, women's leadership conference here in Boston, and every single woman, it wasn't specifically like spirituality or inner work conference, but every single person, every single woman up there spoke about how, and these are women with like multiple multi-million-dollar businesses, right? And every single one of them spoke about the thing that makes the difference is the inner work. Every single one of them, even in a space that wasn't actually about that, acknowledged that the thing that made the difference was their willingness to do the inner work. And I just, first of all, love that recognition and that reminder. And I think part of it is because what you spoke to, it changes the more we are willing to go down into the depths and do the inner healing and rise up to see our full the bigness of our magic and our power. There's there's space that opens up inside of us. I like to think of it as like more of me is in me, and that changes what we are capable of, right? And so the depth of the kind of purposeful work or the powerful, messy action that we get to take in the world starts to broaden and deepen because there's more of us to take, right? There's more of us to take that step. There's more of us available to ourselves. And so I really love that reminder that it is the inner work that gives us capacity to be bigger, to do more. I do want to come back to a question around how we can pivot. Sometimes some of us who are heart-led can get lost in the inner work. We love it so much that we can spend all of our time there. And there's a call to like do some of the external action, and that we can get a little sometimes tripped up in like actually being able to make that transition. So I do want to speak to that. But there's one other thing that I've been thinking about as we've been having this conversation. And it's a line that Spirit gives me often, and I want to offer it to you guys. It's this question, which is, what are you living in devotion to? Emily said at the very beginning of hers that this commitment was a big part of, her purpose, her purposeful action showing up. What are you living in devotion to? And I want you to answer it, and I would love for people to put this in the comments. What are you living in devotion to, specifically in your actions? What are your actions in devotion to? What are your thoughts in devotion to? And if you are spirit-led, prayer-led, what are your prayers or intentions in devotion to? And do those sync up? What are your actions, your thoughts, and your intentions/prayers in devotion to? The first time Spirit asked me this question, the answer was worry. That was uncomfortable. Right. The first time Spirit asked me this question, the answer was, oh, I am living in devotion to worry. My intention, my prayer is for joy and ease and love, but my thoughts are really devoted to worry. And as a result, my actions are confused. Some of my actions were powerful and devoted to love, and some of them were devoted to worry because that was a lot of the space that I was feeding. And sometimes we just have to be accountable and see ourselves clearly. Like, okay, am I living in devotion to the thing that I know is my dream? And we spoke in the copy about this, right? How like your dream, that desire that you have, that vision you have to write the book or sing on the stage or quit your job, like that desire is in some way your purpose, right? That desire is a North Star, is leading you forward. So first of all, are my thoughts, actions, and intentions or prayers lined up with that desire? Or are they out of alignment with that desire? And what do I need to do to kind of sync them up, right? And to Emily's point about ego, as I have gone on the journey, yes, that desire, that dream, that true north, like was a true north, was like, this is your desire, this is your purpose, go full steam ahead. And I have had the opportunity to let big old chunks of ego fall off the way, right? So there wasn't total clarity, but there was something, and there was something that was pushing me forward. And I want to remind us that inevitably part of the journey and how it's changed for me is a lot of surrender and a lot of realizing like, oh, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I am. I don't know. I know what I love. I know when I'm doing it. I have a whole lot of desire and dream, and I am definitely an ambitious person. Like I got an Aries moon, y'all. I got ambitions, right? But I don't know. I don't know. And it's the surrendering of that I don't know that to me is also really powerful, because that's also when we sink even more deeply into being powerful. So there's one more thing I want to speak to this about ego. And it's the reminder that we can very easily see that ego is, I need to be the best. I need to be the very best. I need to write the best book that is a New York Times bestseller. And then I'll meet Oprah, and then everybody's going to love me. Right? That's your ego. You might have a very genuine desire to write the book. And also that our like hunger to be the best is ego. And I think we can usually see that. But I also want to remind us all that that obsessive thought that so many of us have, that I am not good enough yet. Am I good? Will I be enough for this dream? That imposter syndrome, I'm not enough yet, that is just as much ego. That is the same kind of ego as I need to be the best. And it is just noise. And it is just as important to let go of the I'm not enough for my dream ego bullshit as it is to surrender the I need to be the best ego bullshit. It comes for us all, but then we got to be accountable and let it go.
That was freaking brilliant. I have to trail and like tag on that, and then we'll go to maybe the next question. But that you called the both things out as ego. It's so important to know that like your purpose, the real, true, biggest, the depth of it will not have ego in it. It will be of service. It will be of love. And thus it can only hold you. And like I literally see like this, like it's almost like a bathtub, like this beautiful like container of water just holding you. And that like the magic of the universe and God and whoever you believe in comes in and comes into that, and it continues to hold you. Like when someone holds back their purpose because of the things you mentioned, the am I enough? Can I ever? Will I be supported? All those things. You were literally born to complete, is the word I'm hearing? To complete what it is that your soul agreed to in this lifetime. More chills. And thus you can't mess it up. You can't mess it up. You can't mess it up. So it's about, literally my whole arms are chills. It's just to be in the devotion, as you said, and also the dedication to when those things come up, knowing like, all right, I see you. I see that that's not actually what I'm truly here for, which speaks to being bigger to me than maybe I've even allowed.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Sometimes as we surrender the ego on both ends, sometimes, and I think for both of us, actually, this has proven to be true, what comes in is, oh, it's actually bigger, but it's bigger, to your point, from a place of service, right? And we spoke a little bit before we did this live about how part of the way purpose is showing up for us in our businesses is like this real clarity of who exactly we're speaking to so that they can hear us and they can find us. And I'm just going to name in this particular moment, my like professional purpose is if you are someone with if you are a heart-led business owner with a big dream and you are very guilty of the I am not enough yet ego, I am your girl. And I have something right now that's a journey, that's a 6-month program to peel off the I'm not good enough yet ego so that you can do the thing. Because you got to do the thing or you're just going to be annoyed, which is one of the other questions you had of like, what happens when we resist our purpose? But I just wanted to name very explicitly, like if you have a business or want a business and you are in the I'm not good enough camp, I have something for you, but we can get to that later. Emily, I have another question for you, but I actually just kind of want to throw it to you to see if you have a question, because there's a couple different ways we could go from here.
Well, I see questions in the comments, and I see also more of our questions. We can do whatever feels good.
Okay.
I kind of want to combine one of them with what Mary Beth said.
Can we read them out loud? When you notice if these devotions are out of alignment, how do you move these into alignment and surrender? And then Shevite is saying you might want to define ego just for clarity. Good call.
I
All right.
think I'll have you define ego. I feel like that one has to come from you.
I kept throwing the word around, so I can divide it. I'm into that.
Cool. So, all right, to start with, what happens when you ignore your purpose, and then how do you get into alignment? So, no one asked this one, but I felt like it was important. What happens when you ignore your purpose? You guys all know, you'll feel, you might even feel like numb or just like disconnected, or things just, something will be calling you, pulling you, and you'll kind of feel like that feeling of I meant to be somewhere else. If there's something else, somewhere else I'm meant to be. And I mean, in my own personal experience, and also, so I've worked with a lot of people who would shift from I'm doing really well, but I want to go into like my full capacity of purpose. And I would say that's so much of what I can bring. And they do. And it happens automatically as a result of shifting the karmic patterns that lie between you and your soul dharma, which really is your soul purpose and your calling for being. And when you ignore your purpose, I feel like there's a lot of roadblocks that come up. There's a lot of hitting the walls that come up. There's a lot of just, for example, I'm not saying this is anybody in here, but I've just, for example, people I've seen, entrepreneurs, for example, they've always, you are so sweet. We will both, I'm sure, leave links on how you can work with us. So hearts, that will come. So I knew this business owner who was very successful, making a lot of money. I don't know if that was success for her or not. And then at one point she noticed it's hitting a wall. It's not working anymore. And she didn't ask for my help. She more so went to vent. And so it was not my place to say. But from my observation and feeling and what that is, I feel like that tells me there's something not in alignment with her purpose and what she's doing. If she's continuously hitting a wall, that is divine showing you there is something bigger for you to see. There's something different. We won't even say bigger. It's not about size. There's jokes there, but like there's something more for you to see. There's something different for you to see. So what happens when you ignore your purpose? A lot of things might fall down, crumble. It might feel like you may have a tower. Everyone here knows what a tower moment is? It's like when something suddenly collapses and falls through. Could be like a relationship or something in your business where it just like literally freaking collapses and you're like, oh my freaking God, there's nothing I can do. It is just changing. Because if a door is meant to shut for you to open the right door, it's gonna freaking shut. Right? So, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It can take time. Absolutely. Absolutely. No one would say purpose is an overnight journey. It's not, but it is the most important journey I think there is. I really believe it is. As for Mary Beth's question, when you notice these devotions are out of alignment, how do you move it?
Can I interject? Sorry, can I interject?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to clarify something. Again, on this theme of purpose and alignment. If you are here and you are in your purpose, but you want more alignment and you want to like explode things to the next level, Emily is your girl. Like if you know you're in your purpose and you want more impact, alignment, satisfaction, Emily is your girl. If you are like if you are like on the, I keep seeing this image like a tidal pool, right? Like you're in and you're out, you're in and you're out of your purpose. And you've got some of those, I'm not sure if I'm good enough stories, I'm your girl. So you know who you are, but all of a sudden that came in with great clarity so that you know who to go to Emily and who to go here. Carry on about Mary Beth's question.
I think that's a solid, yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
That's true. Super true. Well said. So, Mary Beth, when you notice if these emotions are out of alignment, how do you move into alignment and surrender? I'm gonna see if I can channel this. Ooh, choice. You have to choose. To go backwards, to go forwards is what just came through, whatever that means. To go backwards, to go forwards, which may means to tie up loose ends and really decide to they're talking about like destruction, like to destroy what it is you thought you want in order to go into the world of what you do. How do you move into alignment? You follow the threads and the signs that divine give you. They are showing you. You are being shown. Your angels are showing you. You are being shown all the time. Are we allowing ourselves to trust? That's another big one. That's a big one. Are we allowing ourselves to trust what shows up, to trust what we see, to trust the voice in our heads? Are we allowing ourselves to trust the big ideas, like the one, I see Pia mentioned, I think it was Pia who mentioned a big idea. Like, are we allowing ourselves to trust? How else do you move into alignment and surrender? Well, surrender is partially like you and your work with divine, which is also something I can help you with. But moving more into alignment, you will automatically move more into alignment when you do the inner work. Because you will shed the parts of who you thought you were to become who you really are. I don't think I can answer that more than that. I think that's all I got to say about that.
All right.
Ego.
Okay. I want to add one more thing based on what you just said. 1,000% yes. And also follow the ping. I want to, you spoke to that, but I want to underscore, right? What the number of times that spirit has put something in front of me and it hasn't always fucking made sense, right? But every single time that feeling for me, it's like my heart is like, yup. Every single time I take those steps, they don't always go the places that I think they will. Again, ego, I will speak to that more in a minute, but they don't always go. Spirit actually loves to remind me it's never what you think it is, right? But it has never let me down when I have felt that ping and I have moved in that direction, even though it was scary, even though I didn't know where I was going, right? Even though fill in the blank, right? I mean, one example, it's like years ago, I had a ping to book a single session with Emily, and now she's one of my best friends, right? And that one session changed my life, not gonna lie. And also, Emily's friendship has changed my life, right? And I think,
I'm gonna cry.
and we're just getting started. So that's just one of many examples where we don't know the meaning of the ping. And so to your point of trusting is saying yes to the tug, to that like inexplicable feeling that something is a yes, while also trusting that we don't know where it's going to take us, right? Trusting that it will take care of us, but not always in the way that our mind has cast a story around. And that's just part of the process, right? And that we are always being brought deeper and deeper, I think, we are always given more and more deep opportunities to be in communion with ourselves, and by extension, everything that is. To speak to the way I see ego in particular. So thanks for asking that question, Shavite. One, I'm not interested in demonizing the ego, right? Like I spoke in the beginning, our whole journey, the spiritual journey for me is loving and rescuing the rejected parts of myself. And your ego is just another part of yourself. So to try to say, kill the ego and hate on the ego, it just is like another way of self-hating. And so it doesn't actually serve us, but it is helpful to acknowledge the distinction. For me, the way I think about it is that the mind has interest in a lot of stories, right? Our mind is constantly narrating and telling stories. Sometimes their stories are that I'm the best. Sometimes the stories are that I'm the worst. Sometimes the stories are like a long list of shit I got to get done. But there's just stories that happen up here all the time. Our heart, our emotional body, our physical body, our energy body, they experience things, right? And that experience can be intense, right? Who's had their heart broken? That shit's intense, right? Who's fallen madly in love? Who's had a kid, right? Who's felt snow on their cheeks on a perfect day, right? Like being in our life is intense. And the intensity of that, I think, is kind of scary, especially when you think about trauma and karmic baggage and all of those pieces that make being vulnerable and alive scary. And so our mind creates stories, in my experience, to keep us out of that experience, right? Our mind stories are essentially saying, don't go in there. Right? You don't have to go feel. I'll just tell you the truth, right? You don't have to feel your feelings. I'll just tell you what they mean. And so I think of the ego as great protection. There's a whole bunch more we could say about it, but I think about it as a really powerful form of protection. And what's important to remember is that the ego, this thinking mind that's trying to keep us safe, what do we know about safety for our, like, the way our subconscious is wired? Familiar is safe. So our thinking mind, which we sometimes call our ego, it wants things to stay familiar. Even if you are miserable, your thinking mind finds that safer than the big, bold, vulnerable unknown of change, of happening, of opportunity. And to really live the life of your dreams, to really embrace your purpose in the way that we are speaking of it, it will require that vulnerable experience of, I don't know, and of being deeply in our bodies, out of our mind. It will require change, some of which will be great, and some of which we will grieve. And for me, one of the big ways that I work with my own thinking mind, my own ego, is to remember that it is just trying to keep me safe. Again, that idea of like making it wrong, it doesn't work, right? But if I love it, if I remember, it's essentially just a scared little part of me who doesn't want things to change because she thinks that all change will be bad change. I just love her. And I say, okay, I see you. We're scared. We're going to do it anyway, because this is where satisfaction lives. This is where our heart is asking us to go. And to the point of trust, I trust my heart. It has never let me down.
That's super true. I think it's really important to say, not that this is like a whole thing on intuition, but it's related to intuition, to follow the nudges wherever they lead you. Like you said, like it led us both. I mean, I also worked with you and had an amazing experience, just to say that is equally there. And again, like you said, like friendship, wherever the nudges are, wherever the nudges lead you, they will never be wrong. And that's why I also, just to kind of check in with the self, and am I listening to those of the highest high is a thing I say in a lot of my clearings. The highest high, benevolent guides, benevolent angels. Am I listening to energy that is looking out for me and wants the best for me? Or am I plugged into all energy? And I don't know why, but I want to say this, maybe because one of you I actually had a session with where that came up as important today, who's on this call. But I think it's not just you. I think it's many of us. Are we listening and plugging into the highest high? Because there's a lot of energy around us all the time in all crowded spaces we go. And some people are working with just light, and some people are not working with just light. And things that are here to serve your purpose as energies, here to serve you, here to serve the highest high in a benevolent way, will always guide you for the highest good. So I guess what I'm trying to say is make sure that you're plugging into that kind of energy. And I say that because if that is your continuous way that you receive information, receive intuitive nudges, and receive your direction, beware, 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 because for some, again, it's not so simple. Then, and if you're wondering how, the answer is just to clean up your energetic hygiene, which could probably be a whole other masterclass. But anyway, when you are receiving that information, it's going to lead you to thing, to a person, to a Facebook Live, or a Zoom, to a practitioner, to a location, to travel, to an experience, to picking up the phone, to being somewhere at the right time. all of those things play such a beautiful role in your life when you can really truly follow the breadcrumbs of God and the breadcrumbs of the divine, again, whatever word you want to use. And ultimately, if you're, living your life in the desire of serving your purpose and allowing that to curiously unfold, it will unfold. It's not like a thing you go, I'm going to smash it open and just see it crack open like a piñata. No, it's really more like a beautiful unfolding. That those pieces will fall in line naturally. Yeah, I think that's it about that. Okay. Yes. I mean, truly, like I've got countless stories of that, countless stories of just following the inner nudges, which led to so much magic and continues to. So like that's literally how I live my life. That's one of the things I'm in devotion to, very much so, and it has never steered me wrong. So maybe we could do one more question because we're maybe getting to.
Yeah. I'm wondering if anyone in the comments has a question. That feels my like intuitive nudge. Does anyone in the comments have a question?
Yeah.
I have some, but I want to see what you guys got cooking.
What are you baking?
Delicious cookies.
Most of you are video off, so I can't see who's typing.
I know. Someone is. I have questions, if not. If everyone's just stumped. I have actually, okay, while people are typing their questions, I also have a question for people that I'm going to ask you to put in the comments. What thus far is your biggest takeaway in terms of what your purpose is asking of you?
Great question. And I see that we have a question.
Yeah. Do you want to answer this first? This feels very.
Love to.
This feels like a beautiful Emily question.
Number one, never compare yourself to anyone else. Never, ever, ever compare yourself. How you're seen, how successful, never compare. Never compare yourself to anyone else. Number two, there's a few questions. So this is specifically, I'm answering the one that says, with all the noise out there, how do you come across as uniquely you? And the second one is to really, really, really focus on the throat center energetically. Your voice can only be uniquely you. That was one of the things that would have been a question, which was, what do I believe is the most important energy center for purpose? Hands down, the throat center. The more in devotion to the throat center. You're one of a kind. All of you are one of a kind. I don't have to know you to know that, although I do know you, so I do know that's true. But all of you are one of a kind. There's this great statistic, God, if I can remember the exact numbers, because I can't, but it's something like the chances of you being born are like 1 in like something billion trillion. And I just want to okay, I was going to go there later, but whatever, it's coming up now. So here we are. We are now in the Pluto and Aquarius time, right? That literally just happened. The fact that happened overlapping with this is crazy town. I told Kyley, I was like, oh my God.
Look what we did.
Yeah, seriously, because like we didn't plan that. And the light's better, my bad. I just needed to change my screen. Whoops. So with that, the world is going through a revolution. You could have been born 40 years later when more of that was done. You could have been born before that. You chose to incarnate here and now, which means that your voice, what you do, who you are, is critical. Again, that word's come up twice and it's been channeled. Critical to right now. So one way to know how to come across as uniquely you, by being your unedited self and knowing that's plenty. You will stand out. You will stand out. People will gravitate to you. Like, I can't even tell you how many, because first of all, to say my marketing has never been hot. It's never been great. It's never been my skill set. Most people have found me because of my energy. And the same thing will be true for you. What you say, your words that you write, your words, what comes from you. So that's how I would answer that question.
Okay,
Kyley.
can I add to that? Because I love, love, love what you said. And I also want to offer the journey authenticity, much like purpose, much like anything, is not a destination. This is our linear mind that we've been given, right? There is not a place in which you go, now I'm authentic. I made it. I figured it out. Check the box, right? It is the opportunity to be authentic, to discover what that means, to peel off layers of false self is an infinite journey. So you will forever find ways to be more deeply authentic, more deeply in your purpose, more deeply in alignment. And I think that's really important because a lot of us, and I suspect a good number of people here, are recovering perfectionists. And so we treat things like authenticity as another thing that we have to perfect in a sneaky backdoors way, right? And so there is no arrival at authenticity. It is a devotional practice, right? It's something you are committed to. And I think that's really important because for me, what that gives me permission for is that it's a whole bunch of messy action, right? I just keep showing up with the intention to be authentic. And in that process, I'm constantly finding places where, there was a self-abandonment wound there, or, there was some masking happening there. I am constantly finding new opportunities. And also I am constantly showing up more and more as myself, right? I am constantly, oh yeah, that felt really good, right? That was authentic. More, please, right? But I think on some level, it requires some messy action and just a willingness, because authenticity, which is the secret of your whole power, which is like authenticity, power, purpose, they're all different words on some ways for the same thing. It is vulnerable as fuck, right? To be really in your power, to be really singing your song and the song that only you can see. It is vulnerable, sacred work. And as a result, it will feel messy on the way because it is actually messy to be alive, right? Like look at the woods outside, right? Like nature exists in this chaotic, abundant, messy, cyclical bloom. And I just really want to give you permission that authenticity doesn't mean you get it right. Authenticity is just another devotional practice, and it requires that you just keep trying. And so I think it was Mary Beth earlier asked a question of like, what do you do when you notice, these different parts are out of alignment? You just keep leaning in, I think is the answer. You just keep leaning in and watch where that next step forward that is heart-led, intuitive-led, you find out where it takes you.
Beautifully said. We could write a book.
I know. I'm getting so many ideas.
Yes, and also like, please use like, for example, Sarah just said to trust myself more and to devote to being more open to endless possibilities. Like, let this be not just like a throwaway live. Like, let this be, I am. This is like I see like a stamp, like a mark. Like, let this be like a renewed promise to the self. Like, really, like, don't let this be just another day. Don't let this be just another life. Let this be really, really potent and purposeful. I think there's one more question I wanted to quickly ask, and then I'm feeling we're gonna wrap it up and share how we can work with everyone and how you guys can work with us, because I've seen that question a few times, and also I'm very, very touched, so thank you. So what kind of strategies do you both have so you can let go of what doesn't serve and step into your power? Very simple, very easy to do the work. I can't give it to you any other way. The most powerful work for that for me has been the work that I do and the work of people also like Kyley, like to do karmic work and to do ancestral level work and to go into the core of what my soul, not just my mind, like there's so many things about mindset only, right? Like not just my mind, but what my soul has encountered, it will come up naturally. So that's what I do. Just to go a little further, like I hold myself very accountable, very accountable, very accountable. When there's, moments I run into that are not easy, where I find myself in resistance with myself or something's coming up and I'm going, what's up? I don't just brush past it ever, ever. If I can't figure it out, I go to one of my phenomenal healer friends, including Kyley. I never brush past it. It is my life devotion that anything that comes up that's not in like that's holding me back in some way, even though I don't like that sentence very much, because I think it could also be a mindset and that could be sticky. I look at it. I look at it and I let it go. I find it. And if I can't find it, I go to somebody else who can find it, because chances are it has something deep in me to show me. And I've been doing this work for years. I've cleared like so many things, as mentioned, thousands, hundreds, thousands. And yet there will still be new pieces I learn and take away. I learned one more thing yesterday. The journey doesn't end. It gets juicier. So that's what, and automatically as a result of doing that, going more into the power, into your power.
Yes, I want to completely underscore that. It's the way that all of my evolution has happened from turning towards my own resistance and meeting it with love and compassion. And always, 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 that will give you it's just always where the magic lives. And sometimes meeting that resistance is a mindset. It's like, okay, I give myself a little pep talk. It's like, okay, we're scared, we're going to do it anyway. Sometimes it is deep inner healing. Sometimes it's sitting on my couch and being fucking sad and letting myself cry and not judging that, or being really mad and doing some somatic experiences of like letting that anger be experienced and move, right? For me, the practice of self-rejection is the number one thing that, like, the ways I've learned self-rejection patterns, including rejecting my emotions and my wounded parts, like that is always the place where I find relief, right? And so for me, when I find resistance, it is always, and resistance can mean my mind is getting really, really loud. And so this is one thing. Start to notice your own cues for what resistance looks like, because it's a little bit different for some people, right? Some people get really disassociative and avoided. Some people get really anxious and whirly. Some people get really like snappy temper, right? So know what your cues of resistance are, your internal resistance, and then find the ways to meet them with love, either through trusted healers and or your own healing practices and spiritual practices. That is always, my friend Eva loves to say, I mean, we all know this quote, but I always think of Eva when I say it, the way out is through. That's the answer. Your resistance is your portal. And so meet it with love and power and impact. Let yourself be held in the meeting of it, and your whole life will change over and over and over again.
Amen. Kyley, how do we work with you, and what's your link?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to drop some links. I have something that has been years, maybe decades in the making. And I just got tears behind my eyes. And I am beyond delighted to have this out in the world. It is a 6-month group program called Thrive. And if your purpose is about a business and it is a heart-led business and you have struggled to really reach that place where it feels like it's thriving, I will help you, and I cannot wait to hold space. And so in particular, this container is about blending this internal work that we keep talking about with the external work, with the strategies, with the actions that are actually heart-led and also in alignment with you, because Emily's path to success and mine are not exactly the same, right? So you need to have a strategy that lines up with you. And a lot of the reasons why heart-led businesses flounder is because either it's not, your actions are not in alignment with your heart, with your like true way of being that you want to be, or we need spaces that can help us with the inner healing, right? So you go to do the live and you're terrified and you want to cancel and go away, right? There's some inner healing that might need to happen. And there just aren't enough spaces that can hold strategy and action with the inner healing, specifically for my former people pleasers and perfectionists who have a big heart and a big dream and are ready to like fucking go. So if that is you, I have it right now. It's not even publicly announced. So you're getting like the super secret 60% off, which is fucking bonkers rate if you want to sign up before Monday. And you can book a call with me if you need to talk about it. But all the links are right there.
Gorgeous.
Okay. How about you, my love?
Yeah. So I decided to make a little like application. It's just a little short questionnaire, which allows me to get to know you more and to help guide what might be the right way to work together. Because I have so many ways to work together that are possible and available, but a few things to know. The first is that My 2025 one-to-one packages are open. It happens once a year, and that is a big deal. Oh man, big deal. And my one-to-one rates are going up for good December 15th. Holy moly cannoli. And as well, November 27th is a very important day. That is the last day to enter to get the best bonuses, discounts, everything on anything I do. How I work with people: one-to-one packages, small groups. I run something called the Hypermind, which has 2 spots open, 2, yeah, for the last one. And that's really perfect if you want to like activate into your next level. Larger group programs. The next one is The Voice. This is my signature program. It opens only once a year. Well, I mean, it's the first time ever I've repeated a program, which is pretty rare because that tells you how good it is. It will be fresh new classes. It's a pretty big deal too. So The Voice. And then the last one is I also have a platform which is very, very, very low cost entry. So there's literally a way to work together between like $49 a month and about $4,000 to $5,000 a month. So there's everything between, and it's not about that, of course. It's about finding what's right for you. So if you feel called to work together, if you feel that pull, if that feels right to you, you'll know. And in which case, please just fill it out. And based on your answers, I will either message with you to help match you with the right thing, or potentially we will get on a private call. So yeah, this has been fun. This has been beautiful.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I wanted to add something just about you. I think one of your zones of genius is, especially as it relates to this conversation, is exponential growth. I think there's a way that there's a depth to your work that for the person who is ready, who has a pretty clear sense of purpose, has some capacity for deep inner work so they can go deep and fast. I do think you have a really beautiful gift for just like lighting the rocket ship fuse. So if anyone is here in a real like, I'm ready for exponential growth, there's many ways to work with you that are beautiful, but I really felt called to highlight that in particular as a gift you offer us.
Thank you, everyone. And all to say, like Kylie said, if you're going through, like the am I enough or anything like that, like she will knock you right. Like you will get in the right zone. And truly one of the most magical people I know, and authentic. You can tell. I think that's another beautiful thing about purpose. You can tell who authentically is living it, and Kylie is also authentically living it, and I can speak to that any damn day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming today. This has been like just the right amount of magic and oomph for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. I'm so excited to watch what y'all do next. I love you, Emily. I love y'all.
You all, bye.